In a surprising turn of events, the United States, under President Donald Trump, has taken a new approach to the ongoing war in Ukraine. The Trump administration has decided to engage in direct talks with Russia. High-level discussions recently took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Leading these discussions were U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Previously, the U.S. had avoided direct negotiations with Russia regarding the Ukraine conflict. This new approach suggests a willingness to explore different avenues for resolution. The choice of Saudi Arabia as the location for these talks is also noteworthy. It highlights the complex geopolitical landscape surrounding the conflict. The decision to hold these talks comes at a critical juncture in the war in Ukraine. The conflict has entered its third year, with no end in sight. Both sides have suffered significant losses, and the humanitarian crisis in the region continues to worsen. The direct talks between the U.S. and Russia offer a glimmer of hope for progress. The world is watching closely, hoping for a peaceful resolution to this devastating conflict. Monitoring the team's progress.
Despite the potential for progress, the Riyadh talks have drawn criticism, particularly from Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy expressed disappointment over Ukraine's exclusion from these initial discussions. He emphasized that any peace process must involve Ukraine directly.
Solutions for Ukraine should not be decided without Ukraine's active participation.
Zelenskyy's concerns highlight a fundamental principle. His criticism underscores the complexities of the situation. While direct talks between the U.S. and Russia are important, excluding Ukraine from the process raises concerns about legitimacy and ownership. Ukraine, as a sovereign nation directly affected by the conflict, must have a seat at the negotiating table. Ignoring Ukraine's perspective risks undermining the peace process and perpetuating the conflict. The exclusion of Ukraine from the initial talks and Trump's controversial remarks have cast a shadow over the peace process. Moving forward, it is crucial to ensure Ukraine's meaningful involvement in all future negotiations. Ignoring Ukraine's perspective risks exacerbating the conflict and undermining the legitimacy of any peace agreement. The international community must prioritize Ukraine's agency and sovereignty in seeking a resolution to the conflict. Section 4. European Concerns. Security and NATO's role. European leaders expressed concerns about their exclusion from U.S. Russia talks and the implications for European security.
Many NATO nations felt sidelined by Trump's unilateral approach to peace negotiations. They emphasized the need for a unified Western response to Russia's aggression.
European leaders highlighted key concerns. They emphasized respecting Ukraine's territorial integrity and sovereignty. They stressed the need for security guarantees for Ukraine and Eastern Europe. British Prime Minister Starmer highlighted the need for a strong NATO stance.
European leaders emphasized a coordinated Western approach to security. European concerns highlight the complex geopolitical landscape of the Ukraine conflict. It is crucial for the U.S. to engage with European allies and ensure a coordinated response. Section 5. A war-torn nation, the background of the Ukraine conflict. To fully understand the significance of the U.S.-Russia talks, it's crucial to delve into the background of the Ukraine conflict. The current crisis began in 2014 with Russia's annexation of Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula with a predominantly Russian-speaking population. This annexation was followed by a Russian-backed separatist movement in eastern Ukraine, plunging the region into a state of war. The conflict escalated dramatically in February 2022 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, marking a significant turning point in European security. Russian forces advanced on multiple fronts, targeting key cities and infrastructure across the country. The invasion triggered international condemnation and a wave of sanctions against Russia. It also sparked a humanitarian crisis, with millions of Ukrainians displaced from their homes. The war in Ukraine is not just a regional conflict, it represents a broader challenge to the international rules-based order. The ongoing war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact on the country and its people. Section 6. Navigating the Path to Peace, Future Negotiations. The U.S. Russia talks in Riyadh have opened a new chapter in efforts to resolve the Ukraine conflict. Establishing a high-level team for peace negotiations and economic exploration provides hope. The path forward requires careful navigation and commitment to diplomacy. Addressing a sustainable ceasefire and Russian withdrawal is crucial. Success depends on genuine commitment and willingness to compromise. Section 7. The International Imperative, a unified response. The Ukraine conflict is not just a regional crisis. It is a global challenge with far-reaching implications for international peace and security. The international community has a moral and strategic imperative to work together to find a peaceful and lasting solution. A unified response is crucial. This includes maintaining diplomatic pressure on Russia, upholding sanctions, and providing continued support to Ukraine. The international community must also address the broader implications of the conflict, such as the impact on global energy markets and the risk of nuclear escalation. The stakes are high. The outcome of the Ukraine conflict will have profound implications for the future of Europe and the international order. The U.S. Russia talks in Riyadh represent a potential turning point. The international community must remain steadfast in its support for a peaceful, just, and sustainable resolution to the Ukraine crisis.